And hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of QUIZME with QUIZKey. We are using the SAA edition of Tutorials Dojo, no? Solutions Architect edition. So our guest today is Kim. Kim, you've been
Hi.
preparing for SAA and about to take the exam. So welcome again to the online version of QUIZME.
Hi guys. So I'm Kim again. So um I've I've been working with fintech company. So as of the moment I'm currently learning AWS. So for the past few months I've been certified for Cloud Prac. Then now I have been trying to take up the SAA. So that's it.
That's it. So Kim,
Mhm.
are you you said you were formerly employed. Does that mean you're currently looking for work as well?
Yes.
Ayan. So
Mhm.
remember guys, yan, Kim is after he has taken his SAA, he's looking for work. Yes, that's very good. Okay, so as you guys know, we're just doing this remotely because we're in quarantine mode. So it's a good opportunity to also try different practice scenarios. This is a good time also to study because
Yes.
yeah.
Spend your stay at home to study,
All right.
and maybe after the quarantine period it's time to take the exam.
Okay. So, Kim, I'm gonna give you five random questions from Tutorial Dojo. Are you ready?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Okay. So let's read out. I'll read the question. The first question
Okay, sir.
is category is design resilient architecture. A startup company wants to launch a fleet of EC2 instances on AWS. Your manager wants to ensure that the Java programming language is installed automatically when the instance is launched. Which of the following configurations can you achieve this requirement? Yan.
Okay, so the first one is AWS config, IAM roles, EC2 config service, and user data. So alam ko pwede mo siyang iset, or as far as I know you can set this one when you're trying to create the EC2.
Yes.
So I'm very sure it's not IAM roles, because it's not you're not creating EC2 instances on IAM
Mm-hmm.
roles. And in AWS config, this is where you store the config, but this is not where you put the user or the data that you want to launch when you launch the EC2, or the settings that you want to pre-installed on the EC2 when you
Mm-hmm.
launch it. So it's either EC2 config service or user data. So EC2 config service, I haven't heard regarding this one, but user data, I think this is it. This is the box that we're talking about. So user data is my
So
answer.
user data. No? Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
check. So the good thing we're on review mode on Tutorial Dojo. Let's see. We can immediately find out if we're correct or no. So check. That is correct. Okay, and you can even have a short explanation or a long explanation if you want to. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, second question. Uh, hi.
Okay.
Yes.
Let Okay, sir. So let me read it. So your boss has asked you to launch a new MySQL RDS, which ensures that you are available to recover from a database crash. Which of the below is not recommended practice for RDS? Ensure that automated backup are enabled for the
Uh-huh.
RDS. Possibly this is one of the
It's not
answer.
a recommended. The
Um,
question is not. Remember the.
yeah, it's not recommended. So use DB as the storage engine for MySQL. Use my ISAM as a storage engine for MySQL. Partition your larger table so that file size does not exceed the 16 terabyte limit. So as Sir Rafi told me, it's not the recommend practice for RDS. So I'm very sure that number one is not the answer for it, because this one ensures that the automated backup is turned on. So this is not the first answer is not it. Um, partition your larger table so that the file size does not exceed the 16 terabyte limit. I think this is also not an answer. There's no um, uh, there's no connection to the available recovery from a database crash from this answer. So it's either use InnoDB as a storage engine for MySQL or use my ISAM as a storage engine for MySQL. So the problem only is I haven't heard my ISAM as a storage engine for MySQL. So I think it's letter B or use InnoDB as the storage engine for MySQL.
Okay. So what's your final answer? The
It's letter B, sir.
Inodinji. Okay, let's double check. Again, the question is which of the below
Mhm.
is not a recommended practice? So basically, what we're choosing, yeah, choosing is something we're not recommending, no? In this case.
Mhm.
Okay, let's final answer. Okay.
Wait, sir. Let me change it to letter C because the use my ISAM as storage engine is the one that I haven't
Okay.
heard of.
So let's see. Check.
Mhm.
That is correct. So basically, turning on automated backups. Number one, that's obviously recommended. You should always try turn on your RDS automated backups or ensure it's always stored. No. Now
Mhm.
for your tables that are exceeding 16 terabytes. So 16 terabyte is our current hard limit. And so if you have
Mhm.
databases that are bigger than 16 terabytes, you'll have to use either a custom or basically have a unique design implementation. Now, between InnoDB and MyESAM, you'll see here, MyESAM is not the recommended storage engine. It's basically on how the two engines basically do its backups and its file system. Because here you can see here there's a better explanation, and so that's why also in
Mhm.
it's how the two databases also differentiate when you have read replicas. No? So you'll see that when
Yes.
InnoDB right now has a better, it's more recommended. It's actually being used more often, InnoDB, than MyESAM. Okay, so we'll go for our next question. Question three. Yan. I think also a while ago, no, I've noticed that I wouldn't say the category a while ago was correct. I would say it's more resilient architecture than performance efficiency. So I guess here
Mhm.
we guys have to maybe sometimes ignore the category in Tutorials Dojo. So next question. You are working for a startup that builds IoT devices and monitoring application. They're using IoT sensors to monitor all data by using Amazon Kinesis, configured with default setting. You then send the data to an Amazon S3 bucket after 2 days. When you check the data in S3, there are only data for the last day and nothing for the first day. What is the root cause of this issue? Option, yeah, and give me your
Okay.
options.
So option one. So the first option is someone has manually deleted the record in Amazon S3. Second question, Amazon S3 bucket has encountered a data loss. And the third one is the access of the Kinesis stream to the S3 bucket is insufficient. And lastly, by default, data records in Kinesis are only accessible for 24 hours from the time they are added to the
Uh-huh.
to a stream. So, number one, well, it's possible that someone has manually deleted the record in
Uh-huh.
S3 if someone has access to it. And number two, Amazon S3 has encountered a data loss. Well, even though Amazon S3 encountered a data loss, it should be still available because, as we know, the storage availability for Amazon S3 is very high, and it's also being the term is being replicated on another availability
The
zone.
standard
So
one, yes.
number yeah, so it should not number two is not possibly the answer. So the third one, the access of kinesis stream to the S3 bucket is insufficient. So this one I'm also very sure that there's access already, because as you can see, the as per the question is saying that the last few days there's data and nothing for the first day. So very sure the S3 bucket has or the Kinesis stream has sufficient access to the
Okay.
S3 bucket. And the last one is by default data records in Kinesis are only accessible for 24 hours from the time they are added to a stream. So this might be the reason why the first day is not appearing, because as we know, the data in Kinesis is only available or can be accessible for 24 hours from the time they are added to a stream. So my answer is letter D.
Letter D. That's your final answer?
Mhm. And final
Okay,
answer.
let's see. Okay, let's check. All right, that's correct. So by default,
Mhm.
and there. So I'll just scroll down. There's also a further explanation, no?
Mhm.
And again, don't forget, guys, it's also here, no? Durability and availability is different. So S3, in relation to the previous question, S3 has 11 nines of durability, but its availability is less than 11 nines. I think it's 99.99%. So 4 nines. Okay,
Mhm.
next question. I think this is our fourth question. Question number 4. So, yeah, please read.
Okay, so you are working as a solution architect in Global Investment Bank, which requires corporate IT governance and cost oversight of all of their AWS resource across their division around the world. Their corporate divisions want to maintain administrative control of the discrete AWS resource they consume and ensure that those resources are separate from other division. Which of the following will support the autonomy of each corporate division while enabling the corporate IT to maintain governance and cost oversight? Haba ng
Yes,
question.
very long.
So yeah, the answers would be, or the choices would be, create separate availability zone for each division within the corporate IT
Okay, what do
AWS
you feel
account.
about this?
Well, um, this is regarding high availability zone, or high
Mm.
HA high availability. So there's no connection to the question to maintain governance and cost
Okay,
oversight
okay,
if you put it on different
right.
ability zones.
This
So
one is
no,
not
this
for
is
you.
not. No, yeah, yeah, very,
Okay,
very sure.
next.
Create separate VPC for each division within the corporate IT AWS account. This is also no connection to cost oversight and maintain governance, but maybe we'll try to get back
Okay,
to
so
it later.
possible. We'll get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Possible,
Next.
yes. Use AWS consolidated billing by creating AWS organization to link the division account to a parent corporate account. So this is a possible answer, because as we know, when you create AWS organization, you could consolidate every accounts that you have. So you could use um, the discounts that for other accounts to the
Mm-hmm.
other account, something like that. So the next one is use AWS Trusted Advisor. So use AWS Trusted Advisor. This is only the one that tells you what you could improve when it comes to some securities. Like for IAM, it would tell you that you need to enable MFA, you
Mm-hmm.
need to delete the root account and other else. So I think this is not um, regarding AWS or the cost oversight. And the last one is enable IM cross account access for all corporate IT administrator in each child account. Well, this is quite possible, not possible an answer, because it should be one of the AWS pillar is when it comes to security is you only allow what needs to be accessed, or the one that is going to access. So my first answer that I think that is correct is number three, which is use AWS consolidated billing. And I'm being torn apart by two or four because it's to maintain governance and cost oversight. But number two, there's no connection with cost oversight, and number five, there's no connection when it comes to security or allowing the IT administrator in each child account. But my wild guess would be number
So
five.
your answer here is number three and number five. Is that your final answer?
Yes, that's
All right,
final
let's check
answer.
it out. That is correct. Wow. So
Mhm.
far you really are almost ready, no? We'll give you the last, and there's an explanation here for anyone who wants to read. Just pause.
Mhm.
Okay. And their references. Okay, so we'll go to the last question. All right, last question. Very simple here. You recently created a brand new IAM user with a default setting using AWS CLI. This is intended to be used to send API requests to your S3, DynamoDB, Lambda, and other resources of your cloud infrastructure. Which of the following must be done to allow the user to make API calls for your AWS resource? And so your options are
Okay, so my options are number one, do nothing as the IAM user is already capable of sending API calls to your AWS resource. So, if I remember right, if you create an IAM user, there's a default rights for an IAM user. So, you need to add those rights first to the IAM user in order to access your S3 or your DynamoDB or your Lambda or other AWS resource. So, this is not the answer
so
for this
least
one.
privilege, no? Yeah, that's a
Number
security and a least
yes, least
privilege.
privilege. Mhm. Next one is enable MFA authentication for the user. MFA is the one is once you log in, it would ask you
Mm-hmm.
for a code. An example of it, if you use Steam, you have a Steam guard that you need to open the Steam on your phone to get the
Mm-hmm.
key. So this is not the answer for
This
this
is
one
for
as
web
well.
console,
So
not API
yes,
calls. Okay.
mhm. Create a set of access key for the user and attach the necessary permission. So access key, this is for SSH if I can recall it right. This is the PEM key or PK key that you use to SSH to environment. So I'm very sure this is also not an
Mm-hmm.
answer to this one. And the last one is assign an IM policy to the user to allow it to send API calls. Yes, you could create a policy for that. So I think the answer for this is number
Is that your final
four.
answer?
Yes, final answer.
Okay. So let's check. No, it's wrong apparently here
Mm,
because you're. Let's read why. No, incorrect here.
mhm,
Uh, Assigning an IAM policy to the user to allow it to send is incorrect because adding a new IAM policy to the user will not grant the needed access keys needed to make the API calls to the AWS resources. So apparently, these are not rules, no? These are so. If we let's reread the question. Apparently, uh, because this is CLI, you'll have to need to pass a access key or assume that or get that access key either through STS or temporary access key. So
mm,
that's why you need a access key. No? So I guess that's
yeah,
if this was roles. So if you're talking about roles, then yes, because some roles do have access keys by default, but for users, in this case, no access key. And so that is why the answer is incorrect. Very close, no? Gives you a good
very
explanation.
close to five.
Yes, close to five, but that's
Yeah.
still, that means you're SAA ready, no? So
Mm.
that's it. That's our five questions though. So how are you so far with our quarantine and AWS usage there?
Well, currently I'm spending my time playing games as of the moment. But next week I'll start reviewing for SAA, just to make sure that I'll get a high score on the
All right.
SAA exam.
Okay. Do you have any advice
Hmm.
for our viewers?
Well, I would advise you if you want to take up the SAA. First thing is, I think you need to study first or to join the cloud prac that we're hosting every month. This is to get you ready for the SAA, because as I try to check with the cloud prac and SAA, the cloud prac offers you an overview on what you need to know by SAA, and on the SAA, it's a deep dive on the items or the AWS offers on the cloud. So if you have an idea on the cloud prep already, then it would be a little bit easier for you to understand the SAA. After that one, as my mentors told me that if you're a developer or you know how to code, it's okay to take a track for DevOps. Then after, if you're not, then it would be a SysOps. So either way, I think you could master one of that during the free time that you're having. So that's my suggestion to you
All right.
guys.
Okay. So thank you very much for guesting once again. So yeah, don't
Thank you
forget guys
guys.
to always like and subscribe
Bye.
and visit our YouTube channel and our Facebook page as well. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
guys.
Bye.